Following this guy all the way. Hey, somebody brought all the trees down around them. Well, how are you? Playing some softball?
If I can please ask everybody to and please direct your attention to the entranceway for your 1973 class from Chazy Central.
Alumni Association, I welcome you to the 40th Annual Alumni Banquet, honoring the 50-year class of CCRS. My name is Kathy Munson-Devins, Executive Director of the Alumni Association, and it is my honor to stand before you tonight and share this special occasion with you, the occasion of the 50-year class reunion, my class. Our high school years were a time of growth, friendship, and knowledge that stood the test of time and gifted us with many fond memories, which we will be sharing with you this evening. And so it gives me great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to present to you a mighty class, the class of 1973. Classmate Wayne LaValle will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. a riddle about the class of 1973. In the 1960-61 school year, no yearbook would there be. Senior class or yearbook, senior class trip it was to be. So no 1960 class picture of the kindergarten babies, an unknown number of these young lords and ladies. On to first grade, alas, our first picture. History has been made. 67 cuties were in that picture. Second grade already? How can this be? We've only just begun and already lost 3. Moving right along, what a rowdy crew. Enjoying third grade, even though we lost 2. Fourth grade, really? Look how much we grew. We're learning so much, and again, -2. Fifth grade, 1 more year, onward with 7 less. Soon a bigger pond, a little scary, I must confess. Here we are, happy as can be, big 6th graders, and soon we'll be leaving elementary while losing 3. But before we move on to junior high, tell me please, the day we left elementary, how many classmates were with us on that day? Junior high, ready or not, here we come. Add 1 classmate to the fun to help achieve life milestones as we terrorize and annoy all with our acne, attitudes, and raging hormones. From 7th to 8th grade, we added 7 more and continue being obnoxious even when being ignored. But before we move on to high school, tell me please, the day we left junior high, how many classmates were with us on that day? Hello, high school! We entered our freshman year with 2 less, but we were still a force to be reckoned with. Competitive, artistic, intelligent, and funny. We were the class no one messed with. The tradition of greatness carried on, even though we lost 12 classmates in the mix. We grew and excelled in our sophomore year. There were few hurdles we couldn't fix. Our magical year was before us, excited for our prom and class ring. Losing 7 classmates couldn't stop us. We were the class that could do anything. It's our senior year, senior play, class day, graduation. But before you all say congratulations, add just 1 more to our jubilation. Now the question is this, tell me please, on the day we graduated from CCRS, how many 1973 graduates were with us on that day? But wait, we're not done yet. Fast forward 50 years, and here we are today, classmates from 1973, reminiscent on this joyous day. Sadly, we have said goodbye to 6 of our classmates, Billy, Joan, Trey, Stephanie, Jim, and Scott. Gone, but will never be forgotten. We've come to the end of this riddle about the class of 73. But tell me please before we leave, how many classmates are with us on this day? I realize that the riddle was quite lengthy and contained a great deal of information necessary to solve it. Therefore, if you look under the centerpiece on your table, you will find a copy of the riddle along with a pencil. Feel free to look it over, share your thoughts with people at your table, and later in the program, I'll come back to get your answer. So enjoy and good luck. At this time, I would like to invite classmate Pamela Samuel-Zulis, who will give the invocation. Please stand.
Let's pause a moment just to pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the health and strength and means to be able to be here today. Thank you for these friends and memories we share. As alumni of Chazy Central Rural School, we're thankful for our goodly heritage. Since graduation, for some of us as many as 50 years and more, we've gained families and friends. We've grown in years, knowledge, experience, and wisdom. We've enjoyed successes and endured tragedies that have shaped our own unique stories. Please give us wisdom to think and live well, to love well, and to support and encourage others whenever we can. Tonight we pray for the graduating class of 2023, with their whole lives ahead of them. Give them courage and wisdom as they enter a new and exciting season of life. We also want to express our thanks and appreciation for the Alumni Committee that has worked so long and hard to plan and prepare this celebration weekend. We're grateful for all their time and energy. Lord, I also want to thank you for your Son, Jesus, who took the punishment for our sin by dying on the cross. Thank you that he came alive from the dead, proving his power over death and providing forgiveness of sins and eternal life for anyone who believes in him. Finally, thank you for the food that's been prepared for us and people that made and serve it. Thank you for everyone here around these tables and for the pleasure and enjoyment of being here together to reminisce and celebrate these years past since our graduation from Chazy Central Rural School. Please bless our evening together. Amen.
You may sit. I believe dinner is ready. They will come around to your table and let you know when it's your turn to go up to the buffet line. Thank you. So at this time, I would like to introduce the Alumni Association officers. Our president is Ann Carey, class of 1957. She was unable to attend. Vice President Jane Fulton Hess, class of 1953. Jane also was not able to attend. Secretary Krista Dupre Ringer, class of 1998. Stand, Krista. Our treasurer, Margaret Maggie Ryan, class of 1979. Board of Directors, Richard Dick West, class of 1954. Unfortunately, Dick was also not able to attend. Rhonda Charlie O'Hagan, class of 1977. Nancy Powers Vesco, class of 1977. Cindy Jensen Bruno, class of 1978. And Karen Dio Provost, class of 1985, was not able to attend. I would also like to recognize the individual who does a great job on our newsletter, Steve Patno. Will you please stand? We are happy to have with us this evening an alum who graduated 70 years ago this year. Please join me in recognizing Mr. Ronald Parmenter from the class of 1953. Classmate Alana Lucas Hogo will present him with a boutonniere from the class of 1973.
Careful, careful. Don't stab him.
Well,
Whoa, I don't know.
wait a minute.
We are also happy to have with us this evening one of our favorite teachers and great soccer coach, Mr. George Brenner.
Stand up, George. Stand up.
Gail Bishop will present him also with a boutonniere from the class of 1973.
Cheers to hug.
I will now introduce all the classes. I do this in increments of 5 years. When I announce your year, please stand. Members from the class of 1950 to 1955. I think that's only Mr. Parmenter. 1960. 1961 to 1965. 1966 to 1970. 1971 to 1975. Class of 73, stand up. I can read you guys and everything? Yes. 1976 to 1980. 1981 to 1985. 1986 to 1990. 1991 to 1995. 1996 to 2000. 2001 to 2005. 2006 to 2010. 2011, 2015. 2016 to 2020. 2021 to 2023. Okay. We will now have our remembrance ceremony. This is when we are going to pay tribute to our deceased classmates by the class of 1973, and all members of the class of 1973 will be participating. Classmate Louise Selassie Hughes will conduct a presentation of the class of Brenda Poisson Maurice will conduct the ceremony with the assistance of Michelle Carpenter and the rest of the class. So class of 73, please come forward. And Leslie, you also, please.
He's a king.
All right.
We're good.
Okay. William Billy Brooks Drew, March 12, 1955 to June 16, 1981.
Billy Prue. Billy entered the halls of CCRS in September 1966, joining fellow classmates in Mr. Schall's 6th grade class. Highlights of 6th grade included Mr. Schall reading My Side of the Mountain, elementary band and lessons in the old school band room at Mr. Bentley, the 6th grade play, A Case for Two Detectives, and who could forget the end of the year class trip to Expo 67 in Montreal. Grade 7 took place in the old school while we watched the new school take shape all around us, with construction beginning in May 1967. In 7th grade, we witnessed Billy's emerging leadership and math skills when he was elected class treasurer. As an 8th grader, he firmly established his musical talents in concert band and junior high chorus, and he recklessly bombed the slopes of Moon Valley and ski club. A milestone in junior high was in 8th grade when we all carried our desks from the old school to the new school the day before the Christmas break. The new school opened on January 6, 1969, the first day back from the Christmas vacation. This bright new space prepared us for the years in high school, with a new swimming pool, full-size gym, band room, and more. The summer before his freshman year, Billy experienced an extraordinary opportunity when he was selected for a 36-day tour of Europe as part of a youth delegation to promote YMCAs. According to an interview in the Press Republican, one of the highlights was visiting East Berlin and the Berlin Wall. 9th grader Billy participated in many CCRS activities, including JV basketball, baseball, soccer, ski club, yearbook, and the one-act play. As freshmen, we traveled across the border to frigid Montreal with Mademoiselle Stewart, to Place des Arts and the amazing Crepe restaurant. Billy was in chorus, concert band, and selected for wind ensemble, all-county band, and all-state band. Billy continued to be selected as a percussionist in all-county and all-state band all through high school. And we remember, his fellow classmates remember him for the timpani solo in North Sea Overture, and for playing snare drum in Memorial Day and Straw Hatter summer band parades. Through his high school years, he also participated in plays, the most memorable being the senior play, The Male Animal. With his speed, agility, and coordination, Billy was a natural athlete, excelling in all sports that he participated in. He is especially remembered for soccer throughout high school as one of Mr. Brendler's many talented team players, and helped earn the Section 7 soccer championship in 1970. His love of soccer bonded him to many, including his friend George Poisson. He was a bright, inquisitive student, inducted in the National Honor Society in 10th grade, taking physics in his senior year, and was awarded a 1973 New York State Regent Scholarship. After Billy passed his road test as a junior, his green Jeep Cherokee wheels carried him to further new adventures in Chazy and beyond. His infectious laugh was contagious, and hearing Billy's laughter brought a smile to everyone within earshot, whether it was appropriate or not.
Joan Leslie Trombley, March 8, 1955 to July 21st, 2004.
This was written by Joan's sister-in-law, Eunice Trombley. Joan Trombley, the seventh in a family of 10 children, is remembered for her fiercely independent and determined nature. She loved adventure, which she pursued even as a young girl, one day deciding to cook her own breakfast of bacon and eggs outside every morning until the November weather convinced her to join the rest of her family inside her warm home. Joan found adventure everywhere. What she didn't think of, her best friend and cohort, Stephanie, did. Even as a young adult, she broadened her siblings' awareness of the world around them. For example, including them and joining her and tasting different cultural foods or experiencing the thrill of sailing. Her family was extremely important to her, and she generously made herself available to them during times of need. Joan had a passion for many things: a love of nature, the ocean, being outdoors as much as possible, feeding the squirrels, and visiting other countries such as Egypt. She had a love of learning and she held a master's degree in business administration. But she was always learning something new, like the study of Zen, a love of photography, and just plain having fun. She participated in 10 Boston marathons just because. She was incredibly organized and is also described by some as a minimalist, not accumulating an abundance of material things. It is said of her that everything she owned had to fit in her car. Speaking of which, she loved Volvos. This made it easier for her to move around, having lived in Buffalo, Boston, Maine, and lastly, Colchester, Vermont. Joan had a healthy sense of who she was, and she wasn't afraid to live life to the fullest. She had a keen sense of fairness, but life was not fair to her. She developed cancer of the esophagus in her 40s, and she died July 21st, 2004 at the age of 49. Her family and her friends still miss her after 19 years, but we believe that her spirit lives on, enriching whatever life she is now embracing. If Joan was writing this, I believe she would be pleased that you are remembering her in this way, as well as her other classmates who could not be with you to celebrate this reunion. I'm equally sure she would congratulate all of the class of 1973 for the light you are shining in the world since leaving CCRS.
Donald Trey Franklin Green, June 5th, 1955, October 27th, 2015.
Trey had a deep commitment to CCRS and the people he graduated with. This was evident in the support he and Chazy Orchards provided whenever asked. He always looked forward to class reunions where he could catch up with classmates. His passing was a shock to many who knew him, but the time he spent with us will always be cherished. Now, so much for the prepared statement. Trey was a great student, an excellent athlete, and a damn good trumpet player. His favorite band was Yes, and many of us, especially me, attended several concerts with him. Of course, always with the best seats as he sat in front of his computer the day tickets became available, waiting for sales to begin. Trey enjoyed camping and traveled all over the U.S. with his pop-up camper, and later with his motorhome, which was Min's favorite. My family joined his family on many of those camping trips. Which brings me to Trey's family. His then-wife, Jay, gave him two beautiful children, Donnie and Victoria. Donnie being my son's best friend. Trey was a great family man, doting over his children to the end. Jay was a good friend and kind to all. He was a gentleman from Chazy, New York, and my best friend ever. Oh yeah, how about class president, student council president too, right? Well, thanks for that, and love you, Trey.
James Jim L.V. Champagne, November 1st, 1955 to August 31st, 2016.
Jimmy, same thing happened when we practiced. He's doing it on purpose. He gave me a hard time the other day. This is just, wait a minute. It has to have, it has to. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Stand by, folks, it won't take long at all.
I'm so sorry. It's Jimmy's fault. I'm sure he's laughing.
Let me see here, Gerald Ducharme will read. Did you not know that? Oh, you're screwed. Don't hear this.
Thank you. Jimmy married Karen Hughes, class of 1974 and 1997, and built a home in West Chazy. He worked for Church Oil until his purchase of Liberty's Garage in 1995. Jimmy enjoyed building his business and the friendly reception he received from his many customers. He made many wonderful friends and was well respected for his honest business practices. In 2014, he bought a piece of property on the lake, and in preparation for retirement, he built a home on the lake in 2015. Jimmy left this life in August 2016. He accomplished happiness with his life, work, and building his new home. He had a life that touched others, and he will always be remembered for his generous, kind nature. His motto that we hear often but don't always follow, treat others how you want to be treated, will always be remembered. He was loved and will not be forgotten.
Stephanie Andrew, July 16th, 1955 to August 17th, 2019. Her daughter Leslie will be reading this.
Hi, everybody. Stephanie Rovers is one of the members of the class of 1973 who is no longer with us. Some of you may have kept in touch with her throughout the years. She lived in Chazy for the entirety of her life and wintered in Florida for the last 15 years or so. And some of you may have lost touch with her over the years. Stephanie passed away of blood cancer less than 6 weeks after getting the diagnosis. She fought the hardest and most brave battle before succumbing to the terrible disease. My mother and father had 2 children, my brother Brad and I, Leslie. I wanted to share some words of remembrance with you all today, adapted from the eulogy I gave for her in 2019. I'm like nervous.
Okay, doing a great job.
My mother had an energy and light that lit up any room she walked into, and she had a way of engaging strangers that made them feel comfortable and at ease. It didn't take long for a new acquaintance to feel like they'd known her for years, and she was a masterful storyteller as well. Her stories would draw you in, building up in cadence as they led to the punchline. She could hold your interest, reeling you in like a classic suspense movie. My mama was tough as nails. I remember when she joined me for 3 days of backpacking on the North Pole Placid Trail in the fall of 2009. We were hiking 10 miles a day, and it was the first time she carried a full 45-pound pack. It also rained all day, every day. She was clearly tired, but kept chugging along with a smile and never asked me to carry any of her weight. I remember one night in our lean-to, she turned to me with a huge smile on her face and said, "So you really like this?" On the last day of that trip, she ended up slipping on a wooden walkway, and that full 45-pound pack came slamming down on top of her wrist. It immediately swelled up, and I was almost positive it was broken. Luckily, I had been working as an outdoor educator, so I was able to splint and wrap her wrist. But she still insisted on carrying that pack for the last 10 miles. Once we finally got out, she demanded that we go to dinner at Lisa G's before going to the emergency room. She was sick of backpacking food and she wanted a real meal. But it turns out I was right, and she did have a broken wrist. It had broken in 2 places, and she had to have surgery and a pin put in. But she never once complained throughout the whole ordeal. She was tough. Beyond her grace and tenacity was also kindness. She was undeniably selfless, generous, and warm. I can't tell you how many times she's given me something of hers, whether it was a dress or a favorite piece of jewelry, simply because she thought it looked better on me. It genuinely gave her pleasure to see happiness on other people's faces, and she often was the first person to step up and offer help to her friends, whether physical or emotional. She wasn't afraid to show her happiness, always with a smile on her face. And she continued to smile, that amazing, glowing smile, even after she lost her ability to speak. Talking about my mom's life would be incomplete without talking about my father, who's over there, the love of her life, her best friend, and devoted partner for 47 years. I can't even count how many times she told me the story of how they met. It was the summer of 1973, and my mother, who had just graduated from high school, was at the quarry swimming and hanging out with friends. Then my dad drives up on his dirt bike, shirtless and toned, on a break from working on the farm. That was the beginning of their relationship, and it blossomed for the next 47 years. They grew and evolved, remaining dedicated to one another and in love. They stood together throughout their entire adult lives. They traveled the world together hand in hand. She was there for him and took care of him when he was badly burned. He stood by her side throughout this horrible diagnosis that stole her life much too early and much too quickly. They demonstrated their unwavering devotion to each other every single day, and I'll always be grateful for being able to witness that kind of love and companionship. Stephanie would have loved to see all of you at this special reunion, and those of you that have lost touch with her, hopefully this gives you a glimpse into her life post-graduation. Thank you.
Scott Allen Wilson, May 6, 1955, June 8, 2020. Wayne Rising.
Scott. Scott spent most of his life in upstate New York, where he worked hard to support his family and play hard with his close friends, who remember him fondly. A man whose quiet humor and grace endeared him to us all. He retired to the Carolinas with his wife Michelle and lived out his days doing things he loved. He is missed by many and will always be part of the class of '73. Scott. Not yet. My mistake.
All right. Have a seat. Sit down.
Who conduct the presentation of the class of 1973, and classmates Beverly Coulomb and Susan Dupree Rouget will present the 50-year parent.
Is that class of 73?
She just said.
I think so. Actually.
I don't know. They line them up outside and
Thank you all. We're going to start with Gail Bouchard Woodruff, followed by Gary Brzezinski, Deborah Kluke Naper, Gerald Bouchard Esquire, Wayne LaValle, His Honor. Alana Lucas Kogel, Pamela Mayo Hamill, Kathy Munson Devens, Wendy Oliver Utberg, Brenda Poisson Maurice,
There's one in every class.
Pamela Sanger Zubis, Deborah Trombley Smith, Janet West Clerkin, Jane West Minotti, Michelle Carpenter, Beverly Palome Bouchard, Susan Dupre Rogier, not to be forgotten, Kathy Henry.
and Louise Selassie Hughes. We will now gather together for our 50-year class picture.
Smile, everyone, smile. There's a limit to this leg.
Please stand. Pam Hamill will lead us. Book on page 4, I believe. So if all alumni will please stand.
Start out with 2D.
Everybody stand next to So I lost my fit.
You three were in trouble. I know you were. I saw you right up there.
53 years ago, the class of '73 began an adventure in filmmaking. About classmates Gary Pishnesky and Wendy Oliver Uber will share with you the film we produced, the same way we presented it on class day 50 years ago.
Well, we really enjoyed our years at Chazy. We were always known as the class that was willing to try something, even to try to compete with Hollywood for a share of the glory of filmmaking. What you'll see now is the culmination of what took us 4 years to produce. It may not be Gone with the Wind, but it was, and still is, especially dear to us because it's ours.
Before the rising sun we fly, so many roads to choose. We start out walking and learn to run.
Before the breathing air is gone, before the sun is just a bright spot in the nighttime, out where the rivers like to run, I stand alone. I take back something worth living.
The dream that the summer is over. Suddenly it's June. The last stool bell has folded in the afternoon.
For the listener who listens in the snow, and nothing himself, beholds nothing that is not there and nothing that is.
The first thing I met was a fly with the buds and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been to the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 And after 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to the sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and perfect skies above. Under the cities lies a hard middle ground, but the humans will give no love. You see, I'm through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. feel no pain.
I would like to mention that Mr. Bruce Carlin, producer, who transferred our film to a thumb drive, just won an Emmy for filmmaking. Many thanks to Mr. Carlin for assisting us with this endeavor and making it possible for us to share it with you. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. What is the answer to the riddle?
18. 60.
Okay, 24, 27, any other?
31.
33 and 31.
18.
18? Okay,
39. 18.
okay.
60. 60.
So you know how riddles have a way, it's a play on words? Well, the last question was, how many classmates are with us on this day? Would all members of the class of 73 please stand? There's your answer.
Sound off!
Sound up.
How many are here today? I didn't count.
6.
17?
17, 18, 19?
I got 7.
Okay, sound off. 1,
2. Whoop. 3. 4. 5. She's looking around.
7. 9.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
19 is the answer. There's 19 members of the class of 1973 that are still with us here today. So, in case you haven't noticed, we have an Eagle and soccer ball pinata for all of you to try your luck at winning some delicious adult beverages and goodies. The interesting thing about the soccer ball is it has 4 separate compartments with this delicious adult beverages and goodies, which means there's a potential for 4 individuals to win. The purpose of the piñata is to raise money to support the Alumni Scholarship Fund and to assist CCRS graduates with the cost of furthering their education. So we are making a suggestion of $5 for 3 hits on that soccer ball so that you can possibly win some delicious adult beverages and goodies in hopes that you will support us in this. So we do have a sheet over here. You can just put your money in the bag over there that's marked donation and write your name on the slip of paper, put it in the bag, and when we're ready to allow you to try to win some delicious adult beverages and goodies, we will draw your name out of the bag to see who goes first and second and third, or however long it takes before you break it to win that delicious adult beverages and goodies. I'd also like to mention that there are DVDs available of tonight's program through Hometown Cable, Mr. Calvin Castine. The price of them is $10 if you pick the DVD up, or $15 if it needs to be mailed. There is a sheet out on the front table where if you're interested, you can sign your name and address and contact information or see Mr. Calvin directly, but we are making that option available to you. And we would like to thank Mr. Castine for being with us this evening. Thank you, Calvin. We will now present the awards, and I would like to invite Rhonda Trombley O'Hagan to the podium to present the Alumni Service Awards.
Go, girl. That's a while.
Good evening. So, we are giving 2 service awards out this evening for people on the alumni committee who do a lot behind the scenes that nobody even knows happens. So, our first award goes to Jill West Beeman, class of 1977. Come on up here. This is thank you for all the work you do keeping all the database doing all the labels, doing all the stuff that you do behind the scenes. Okay, my lovely guys. Thank you. Thanks, Jill. And our another award goes to Lori West Miller. So Lori, for years and years and years, has helped us print out the alumni newsletter and take care of all the stuff that goes on with getting that all taken care of and mailed out to all of you. So thanks, Lori, for your continued support. You're very welcome.
At this time, we will do the Alumni of the Year Award. Classmate Brenda Poisson-Maurice and Gerald Ducharme will present the Alumni of the Year Award.
Following the construction of our beautiful old school in 1916, William and Alice Miner commissioned a dedication plaque, which was displayed in the building's marble entrance. Mr. and Mrs. Miner's message to the young people of Chazy, which is now visible in the main lobby of our present school building, reads as follows. It is our earnest hope that your inspirations, cradled in this building, and your association with your teachers, your books, and with one another, may impel you to make diligent effort towards self-improvement, whereby you may prepare yourselves to go forth into the world of opportunity, not alone to accomplish your own mental and spiritual development, but to carry to all mankind a fruitful message of high purpose, patriotic example, and practical helpfulness, corresponding in degree to the great and loving interest which we feel for you. These words have encouraged generations of Chazy students for over 100 years, and they provide a solid foundation for the annual Alumni Award presented this evening. As we reunite this weekend with our memories and with each other, we have the opportunity to celebrate one of our classmates whose service has brought distinction to herself, her community, and her alma mater. Tonight, it's an honor to present the 2023 Chazy Central Rural School Alumni Award to our friend, Michelle Carpenter.
Michelle's biography, the alumni newsletter, is typically self-effacing, but an objective review of her accomplishments revealed a life of focus, hard work, and diligent effort in the service of others. Michelle went on from Chazy to obtain her bachelor's degree in education and master's degree in counseling, both from SUNY Plattsburgh, and her PhD in education from the University of Vermont. Michelle began her work at SUNY Plattsburgh as graduate assistant in student support services and quickly climbed the professional ladder, becoming assistant director, then director, and finally assistant vice president for student affairs. Her acknowledged passion was supporting low-income and first-generation students, and she devoted her energy to serving her students as director of special programs at the college, including student support services, accessibility services, and the Educational Opportunity Program. Michelle retired from SUNY Plattsburgh last month. Several former students spoke at her retirement dinner. They were eloquent and emotionally describing their college experiences and how Michelle's support changed their lives. One speaker remembered, that he was only able to attend college through admission to the Educational Opportunity Program. He arrived in Plattsburgh from New York City without money or friends and feeling lost and unsure of himself. On this day, he met Michelle. She quickly became his champion, offering guidance and constant support as he worked to attain his bachelor's degree. With Michelle's encouragement, he went on to earn both his master's degree and PhD in the field of higher education. Today, this young man works as a research analyst at the Institute for Higher Education Policy in Washington, D.C. Another speaker described his life growing up in an 800 square foot apartment in the Bronx. He was recruited to play basketball at SUNY Plattsburgh, but academic setbacks during his first year put his athletic dreams on hold. He described how Michelle went to bat for him, ensuring his return to school the following semester, helping him get his grades back on track, and attending his games once he was able to rejoin the team. Michelle was his greatest cheerleader, both on and off the basketball court. Today, this young man is a nurse practitioner and clinical instructor at Columbia University. Both young men credit Michelle for their success. For her part, Michelle recognized that each had the talent, intelligence, and drive to succeed. Her loving interest was transformative and helped pave the way out into the world of opportunity, where they now work in the service of others.
These are just two examples. Michelle's advocacy and mentorship opened the door to opportunity and kept it open for hundreds of young men and women during their college years. Student success was Michelle's mission, and that mission will continue beyond her retirement. In her honor, several of Michelle's colleagues and former students have teamed with the Plattsburgh College Foundation to establish the Michelle Carpenter Endowment Scholarship, which aims to help North Country students who are able to succeed academically and need financial support to stay in college and graduate. Michelle is the embodiment of the ideals bequeathed to us by Mr. and Mrs. Miner, and which are the legacy of the Chazy education. She is a worthy recipient of the 2023 Chazy Alumni Award. Please join me in saying congratulations and thank you to Michelle.
This year, the CCRS Alumni Association has a special award to present tonight. This is a certificate of appreciation that we are awarding it to Kathy Munson. Kathy over 3 years after you and I have worked together, and I have seen your dedicated love you have towards not only your class, but also to our school. It is very contagious within the association. Your excellent job shows it all, especially tonight. But I think the words on the certificate says it all. This certificate is awarded on this date, June 24, 2023, in appreciation of your invaluable service and contribution to the CCRS Alumni Association for your 21 years of consecutive years of generous and dedicated service as our executive director and has made a significant impact on us all. Thank you for your support. And here's to another 21 years.
Well, this is really a surprise, but I am going to take the advice of a very wise friend told me just a week ago, and it was in reference to when people get an award and then they get up and they go on and on about themselves, but you've already heard it all, so I'm going to take her advice and just say thank you.
People that worked on this committee, come up here, please. Debbie, Susie, Lana, Jane.
Where'd you win? She ran away. Well, she's gonna miss that.
And Michelle. Memorable and respected leaders show the path of greatness. This event would not be happening without one extraordinary person in this room. Her commitment and loyalty to CCRS, and in particular to the Alumni Association. She always seeks out the best and fairest outcome for the community members. She is a honed-in diplomat and committed to her resolve. For example, there was, what, 5 of us doing the march? Okay, so we were standing in the back.
Wayne wasn't.
Wayne, yes you were.
He was instructing us.
Oh,
Yes, I was.
right. But we had so much fun. But we were standing in the back, and Kathy had the little music on for Make Way for the Wiseman. We thought it would be a great spoof on us, actually. And she had us actually marching. Step two. The music was playing, and she was just going around. And we were just going with the flow. We didn't do it once. We didn't do it twice. We did it 3 times. And we just had a ball. But the class of 1973 is forever grateful for her vision and leadership in making the fun-filled events a success. We proudly present this certificate to Kathy Munson-Devins for our appreciation in honor of her great leadership.
Again, I would just say thank you.
Good job. You kept this in line.
There's one right here. I didn't know we were missing numbers. Wow. Somebody's got to sing it. Where's my flower?
I would now invite Krista Dupre-Ringer, class of 1998, who will close the program with the closing remarks.
Let's say thank you.
Kathy's little, I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. Okay, I'm going off script, I promise, for 30 seconds, but it was brought to my attention, I don't know how many of you have seen the wonderful little pamphlets that are on your table. First of all, the soundtrack to the movie, you guys have fantastic music. And if you didn't get the chance to read this, In Style in 1973, for women, polyester, flared trousers, platform shoes, Farrah Fawcett flicks. For you men, it was V-neck velour shorts, turtlenecks, chest hair, sideburns, afros, and mullets, which I am in the high school now, and mullets are like kind of back. I don't know. Rock it if you have it. Okay. As we close out this evening's program, we would like to thank our hosts, Rainbow Banquet Hall, as well as Bruce, Bill, and Bob, because they're about to get the party started, as they play the soundtrack to your youth. And to the class of 1973, thank you for coming together 50 years later, for visiting us at Chazy Central Rural School, for a tour, for attending the traditional tea held at the Alice, for being a part of the 105th graduation ceremony last night, and for gathering here tonight to share your memories of your times at Chazy Central, those in attendance, and honoring those that have passed. Thank you for sharing your stories of your time at CCRS and beyond 1973, and being a part of creating new memories this weekend. Maybe I better put it back down. As high school seniors prepare to graduate, many feel emotions flood them at once. There's excitement, freedom, appreciation, apprehension, and fear. But if they could have a crystal ball looking 50 years down the road, I'm guessing they would feel a sense of relief. Because in the rearview mirror, Chazy Central may be in their vision. However, it never leaves your heart, as clearly it has stayed a part of all of yours 50 years later. Thank you to all of the guests that have attended tonight, and thank you for all behind-the-scenes work that the Alumni Association has done to make it happen. To the Chazy Central Rural School, class of 1973. Can you stand up one more time, please?
No problem.
Just because you look so good. In 1973, your class motto was, "Divided you stood." 50 years ago. But tonight, from our view, united you celebrate. Cheers to you all, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Mr. Joey Trombley is going to lead us in God Bless America.
The music is on the back page of your program. The words, to God Bless America. It does say the West family, and you may be thinking, what the heck is Joey Trombley doing here? But I did marry into the West family, so I guess I am part of the family. So, yeah, Margaret, you want to come up? She can't say I didn't ask her. Okay. You guys ready? God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam, and America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Could we have all the alumni who is in the room who played soccer for Mr. George Brendler to please come forward? We'd like to get a picture of you with him.
Come on, George, I'll show you when you're front. Yeah. All right, there we go.
In the junkyard,